everyone. My name is Cheyenne Forbes, and today we are here with Derek Bailey, the founder of Derek Automotive Technologies. Derek, thank you so much for having us today.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. So what can you tell us about the technology, the really super innovative technology that you're so excited about?
Yeah, well, we have this new technology that we created that we call a Proteus generator. Okay. And the Proteus is made of two parts. We have two patents. One is for a new internal combustion engine that's called a counterpoise engine.
Okay.
It was conceived by my partner, Dale Wolverton, and it turns a generator that we call a warp coil generator, because basically you put in a signal and this generator boosts that signal. It's actually old military technology. Dale is a Navy-trained engineer, and so he stole a little military technology, and we made it new again and got a new patent for it.
So what can you tell us about how it's changing the EV market and how it's really transforming how people see electric vehicles?
Well, what happens is our engine is very efficient. So it turns the generator, and that generator converts fuel to electricity. But the big thing is we've shown that we can do that at about the same carbon footprint as if you plugged an EV into a wall, which is pulling that power from a power plant somewhere.
Okay.
So we make the kilowatt hour of electricity as efficiently as a power plant does.
Okay.
So a lot of people don't realize that when you plug in at home and that power, who knows where it's coming from, on the East Coast, it could be coming from Georgia. And you lose about 35 to 40% of that power to the power line transmissions.
Interesting.
So when you consider like a very close carbon footprint and the loss of power on the transmission lines, it really makes sense to create the power as close to the vehicle as possible.
Okay.
And actually, we create the power in the vehicle.
That sounds groundbreaking.
Yeah, so there are no transmission losses, very low pollution profile, and just the convenience of electric cars is just magnified.
Right.
And we're Americans.
Time is money.
Time is money.
Yeah.
We love convenience. I don't even like to wait for a cup of coffee.
Right. Instant gratification is the way of the world.
I couldn't imagine myself, sitting at a charging station for 4 hours. And what if somebody's at that charging station when I get there?
Yeah.
And they get 45 minutes before I can get my 45 minutes.
Then you're talking,
It's
way
just not
longer.
going to happen for, I think, most Americans. So we say that Tesla made EVs cool. Derek Automotive is going to make them convenient.
That's awesome. So how does that tie into the commercial sector? So we're talking people that are looking into logistics vans and stuff like that. How is Derek Automotive moving into that sector?
Well, I mean, now convenience has a price on it when you talk about like logistics businesses.
Right.
So, I mean, you already have too many packages to deliver in too short a period of time.
Right.
At what point in a logistic manager's schedule does he have even 10 minutes to recharge a van, let alone 4 hours? And what people don't realize is, you have these new companies like Arrival and Rivian, all great companies. They have great technology, but they have to use these huge batteries to try to get, 200 or 300 miles of service range. And the bigger the battery, the longer the charge. So at some point, you have to stop and charge that van. And it's just time consuming. And if you think you're going to do it overnight, I tell people, call up your local power company, because if you have more than a few vans, you're probably going to need a substation. So in addition to purchasing your van, you need to plan some type of additional power supply. So it's going to be expensive. I think the whole story on electric logistics vans haven't been told yet. But I think we're going to arrive just in time to be the hero in the story.
That sounds
that's
awesome.
That's our plan,
yeah. So when somebody's reading something like, for instance, 80 kilowatts, what does that mean? And how can you explain that to somebody who doesn't really have a strong understanding in that?
Yeah, well, not to get heavy into the physics, but you have to look at it in two terms. One's energy, which is what electricity is, and then one's power.
Okay.
So how long do you need that energy? How much energy are you going to draw in a period of time? So if you see an ad for a Tesla that says, it has an 80 kilowatt battery capable of 300 miles of driving range, it means that that car can pull 80 kilowatts of power that battery can pull 80 kilowatts of power for an hour.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So that's a lot of power, and it will give you that range. But unless you have a supercharger, it's going to take you 8 hours to recharge that battery.
Right.
Which goes back to my earlier point.
Right, when the convenience
So
factor.
with our technology, we have like a independent dual battery system, and you start your day with two full batteries. As you deplete one battery, we switch you over to another drive battery, and the Proteus turns itself on to recharge the battery.
Okay.
So you'll hear us say that our cars are going to get 2,000 miles of range. It's because on like 10 gallons of gas, it's because the Proteus is not operating most of the time. When the batteries deplete to about 45%, it turns itself on, it tops those batteries back up to 80%, it turns itself off.
Okay. Because the company is such a broad technology-based company, how would you say your company is structured?
Well, actually, I've structured the company as what investment bankers would call an accelerator company.
Okay.
So basically, we operate almost like an internal VC fund.
Okay.
So we control a core technology, like I said, that produces electricity with very low carbon footprint. And so we license that company to subsidiary companies that we form. Data Electric Vans would be a great example of that.
Okay.
So that company has a license for that, what's called a vertical. And the company is set up that we'll be launching lots of companies in different verticals.
Okay.
So right now you see DAT Electric Vans. Next year you'll see DAT Marine. You'll see DAT Energy, and so on and so on. So we basically, put the technology into a company and we spin that company out.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll spin them all out as billion-dollar companies.
So what do you think the company that will really make the largest impact for the environment? Which one do you think has the capability of doing that?
Well, actually, I think it's the combination of all.
Okay.
We think we have the capability to cut carbon in transportation if we were widely adopted by more than 2/3.
Okay.
That would be huge.
Yeah.
What people don't realize, though, is cars actually make a very small impact in the grand scheme of pollution.
Okay.
To give you an example, 16 of the largest super tankers, that bring all of our goods from China and all over the world,
Right.
16 of those big tankers, they run on these heavy diesel sludge type engines. 16 of those tankers produce more pollution than all the cars on the planet.
Wow.
Now, people don't talk about that so much because
Right.
you can't shut down the global economy.
Right.
But our technology will actually be able to electrify those ships.
Okay.
And that's probably, we certainly can't afford to do that now. But as we prove ourselves in cars, and we prove ourselves in vans, and investment bankers and the world community start to see that, this is a very practical solution to this problem. And all we have to do is make it bigger.
Okay. So I've heard a lot of talk about you guys moving to the direction of going public. So what can you tell us about that?
Well, the way I've structured the company is Derek Automotive is really more of a holding company.
Okay.
And then we operate as what's called an accelerator. So we have a core technology, and then we seed each one of our verticals with that technology. And then we're going to launch those companies out as independent, hopefully all publicly traded companies.
Okay.
So the first launch that we're doing now is for a company called DAT Electric Vans. Of course, DAT is just Derek Automotive Technology.
Right.
So DAT Electric Vans, and that is that electric logistics van.
Okay.
We started what's called a direct public listing for the company already.
Okay.
So we believe that this company is going to be what's called a unicorn, which is basically a startup company that's worth more than $1 billion. And so we believe that DAT Electric Van is going to be a unicorn. So we believe that we're going to come to the market against the Rivian and against the electric last mile solutions and against Arrival and whoever else comes.
Yeah.
They're all great companies with great technology, but every single one of them, you have to pull over and plug that van in.
Right.
So we're going to come to market with a van that you don't have to plug in, but you're going to find that the carbon footprint is no more than when Rivian plugs their van in at their overnight shop.
Awesome.
So now, if I'm a delivery company and I'm driving electric, but I don't have to stop, versus the van company that has a great van too, but it has to stop,
Right.
I think I win.
Yeah. Convenience is key.
Yeah, I think our customers are going to win, and I think DAT Electric Vans will be what's called a unicorn company.
So what is the genesis for the Proteus technology?
Actually, our company is founded In religion, actually.
Okay.
So my partner, Dale Wolverton, I mean, he's a real Christian. You know, I'm a learning Christian.
Yeah.
And he and I, when we used to visit, we would stay up at night playing chess. And I bought a pickup truck. And I was just putting so much gas in this pickup truck that we were playing chess one night. I'm like, Dale, we need to do something about this truck thing.
Yeah.
So like I said, he's a Navy trained engineer. So he's explaining to me why nothing can be done. And if it could be done, wouldn't Mercedes or Ford or
I've
someone
already
have
done it.
already?
Right, right.
So I used to work with he and a guy named Tony Baker. And they used to tell me, because Dell's been doing technology for me for 20 years.
Okay.
And they used to tell me that with technology, everything is possible. Just tell me how much money you have and how much time you have.
Yeah.
If you have the money and the time, we can do anything.
Yeah.
So when I asked him about the car, now he's telling me nothing can be done.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know, I really don't want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Something can be done. You know, we let it go that night. Of course, he beat me at chess. He's just smarter than me. And 8 months later, 9 months later, you know, he calls me at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Says he got a revelation from God. Told him how to fix that problem. He got out of bed. You know, he drew it up. We still have that. You know, it's going to be like in the company museum.
Awesome.
And it's just 3 o'clock in the morning now.
Yeah.
So he's like, I need you to come out tomorrow morning.
The best ideas start at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. And this guy tells me that the sun's not going to come up, I'm not going to get out of bed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if he said that God gave him a vision, then God gave him a vision. So 7:30 the next morning, I was on a plane.
Yeah. The rest is history.
The rest is kind of like history.
Wow.
Yeah, so we got up the money. I've been in the temporary staffing business for like 40 years.
Okay.
So luckily we had a little money on hand.
Yeah.
And so we've been able to like make this happen.
That's awesome.
So it's his vision, which he claims it's not his vision, because it seems like with this engine, with this system, like everything is just kind of worked out the way it should.
Right.
And Dell said, like, as an engineer, nothing works out the way it should.
Right.
So he said that's how he knows that he didn't come up with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a vision.
So how would you say you deal with those bumps along the way? I'm sure you've had quite a few with this.
I've gotten so many bumps.
Yeah.
I don't feel bumps.
Yeah.
I don't feel bumps. I mean, I'm a guy, number one, I haven't had a job since I was 19.
Okay.
I mean, a job where you get a paycheck.
Right.
So I've always been an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And when you first become an entrepreneur, you don't know what you're doing. So you take a lot of bumps. And after you've taken enough bumps,
build up that scar tissue, right? Smooth sailing.
And you stop making the mistakes because you made that already.
Yeah.
And like if you've always been an entrepreneur, and I'm age, you know, that, there are just very few bumps left to take.
Right.
You know, so now I'm surrounded by all these smart people. So we take very calculated risks.
Yeah.
And I think what I do for the company is I've had so many bumps, I'm not afraid.
Yeah.
And so who's going to go into the electric car business against all these giants with all these billions of dollars?
Right.
And, you know, for me, I'm like, me.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I bring to the company.
That's awesome. So what kind of a legacy do you hope to leave behind?
Well, I mean, my goal is to use Derrick Automotive to create at least 10,000 black, brown, female millionaires.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to make a lot of millionaires.
Yeah.
But I want to be inclusive with my millionaire factory.
Yeah.
So it's not like, I mean, we're friends, you know, so like I tell people, I love people of color, and we all are people of color.
Yeah.
But I just want to make sure that like women and people who've been marginalized and left out actually have opportunities to own my dealerships, to become suppliers. And with the electric van, we're going to do what's called an upfitting service.
Okay.
Whereas you buy the van and then we build that van out for you if you're a plumber or a painter. Okay. And so we've created this program that I call a prison to prosperity pipeline.
Okay.
I'm going to probably hire as many capable, ready for a new life, returning citizens as I possibly can.
Okay.
And I think I'm going to make some of those guys rich too.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good thing. So I hope that that's going to be like the Derrick Automotive legacy, and not just in the United States, because you know, people say, how are you going to compete with Volkswagen and Tesla? That's a first world conversation. In the second and third world, there is no electric grid.
Right.
I mean, power for the hospitals are only 3 or 4 hours a day.
Right.
So imagine 5 million electric cars on a grid in a rural part of India. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
So I believe that if governments really want and really believe that electric cars can reduce the carbon problem, then having electric cars in the first and second world is not enough. We need to be able to have electric cars and electric trucks in the second and third world as well. And actually, Derek Automotive is going to be the only opportunity to do that in these countries.
That sounds amazing.
So Tesla can't follow us into Namibia or into the Congo because, we can find fuel that my engine is going to burn very efficiently to turn my generator to create electricity. But for those guys who may not even have a home, to go home and plug in an electric car, it's just not going to happen in the near term.
Right.
So we could sell no cars in the United States and still become a gigantic company.
Yeah. So did you always want to be involved in the electric industry, or what did you see yourself doing as a child?
Well, it's funny. I'm not a guy who's crazy about cars.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, people would ask me, okay, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
Okay. My father was a postmaster.
Okay.
So everybody would think I would say I want to be a postman or a postmaster or
Right.
a fireman or whatever.
Right.
Okay, so, when you're a kid, you don't know much. But on TV, these TV commercials, they used to say, whatever is good for GM is good for America.
Yeah.
So people ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was like, well, I want to own a company like GM. Because what's good for GM is good for America.
Right.
So that had to be big.
Right.
Okay, so I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I know when I grew up, I wanted a company like GM.
Right.
And I had no idea that I would be in the car business.
Right.
No idea.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so the fact that I'm in the car industry now, it's just like too funny.
Yeah.
It kind of shows you that when the universe has a plan for you, it doesn't matter what you think you're going to be when you grow up.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
And by the way, I haven't grown up yet. I'm still very young.
That's awesome. I love that. So Derek, seems like talk is cheap. It is my understanding that you already have one of these prototypes available for us to take a look at. So why don't we go ahead and show the people what they want to see?
Yeah, we have a SUV parked right outside.
Okay, let's go look.
Yeah, let's go check it out.
So Derek, here's the vehicle. It's absolutely stunning. I noticed one of the greatest amenities I noticed right away was the panoramic roof. It's so nice. So what can you tell us about how this sets you apart from other EV?
Yeah, well, one of the things that we wanted to show is, only maybe Tesla and a couple of the high-end cars actually put in the panoramic roof because, it draws on the battery.
Right.
Significant amount of power. So, why put that in unless you can power it? And, our Proteus turns on. So we can put anything in the car.
Right.
I mean, we're really not worried about it. As the batteries deplete, the Proteus turns on, tops the battery back up. So, we don't have a screen as big as Tesla, but this is our first model. But we have the iPad size screen, track and ball. We even, I know people don't smoke anymore, but charger, the whole deal.
The gorgeous.
We integrated some carbon fiber.
Absolutely.
Just to give you an idea of the types of accessories and amenities you can get with the car.
Right.
So as we sell, people will come into our showroom, they'll sit down with the salesperson, and you'll design your own car.
Okay.
And then you'll get delivery in 6 weeks.
Okay, so there's plenty of different options that people can choose from.
We have a black and red package, and we have a gray package. So we have 3 packages right now. Hopefully we'll do better.
Right,
but we're a small company. So you get 3 models now. But as we grow and develop, we'll have more options.
And make it more customizable.
Yeah.
One of the nice features also is the back seat is very spacious and roomy. I noticed that. I recently just had a baby, so finding a car seat that actually fit in my vehicle was a huge difficulty for me. So having the ability to put our son in the back seat has been, a really great selling point for me personally. And
it's a little chilly today, so it's a good thing we could put him in the back seat.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good deal.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Well, it's beautiful, Derek. You have a lot to be proud of, and we can't wait to see more of the different options.
Yeah.